Oh, that's right, bizarro world. Except for the great world of Princess Penny. Princess Penny. If you happen to be watching this morning, you see this great picture right after she's been groomed of her saying, "I'm ready for the show," as she's got the microphone ready to start talking. Let's see what Penny will say this morning. Let's now switch to the real Penny, not the picture of Penny. Let's switch to the real Penny. Oh, yeah, sleeping. One of her favorite things to do. She goes, "Wake me when you've got something you want me to say of import. Because as usual, I suppose your show's going to be about things that don't always seem the way they are. Well, let me tell you, I'm not interested." Hi, I'm Ann Eller, right here with you this morning, hoping that you are getting ready for a great 4th of July weekend. You know, we usually say May 4th, May the 4th be with you. I say, may the 4th be with you, and may America celebrate 250 years of all the good, the bad, and the ugly, because, you know, we live in the greatest country on the face of this nation, except we also live in...
Have you noticed that things feel a little strange? A little peculiar? That's because we're living in bizarro world.
That's right. We live in... Okay, I'll let it all play. Bizarro world, bizarro world. Where up is down and down is up, and you never can make sure. But we also live in the greatest country that ever was made, and I firmly believe that, despite all the arguments and the angst and the things that go on. For example, there's all kinds of things. But basically, I think that there's a lot of things that you would think would just be logical that aren't always logical. So sometimes things aren't exactly the way they seem. Like maybe the Greenwood data center, the open session that they had for people to ask questions and find out about the new data center amendment. I mean, they've amended it, they've added to it, and I am sorry I wasn't here yesterday, but oh my goodness, I was just not feeling well at all. But I feel good today. That's right, I feel good today, so I am with you, and we're going to talk a little bit about the data center, my observations from the other night. And again, I seem to come back to the same question. What is the rush? If there are people that are interested today, this isn't like, here's the thing. You know, there have been businesses that have come to Greenwood or have looked at Greenwood, and they've had all these projects named X, Y, and Z, or, well, we could even take Project Piranha, which was Amazon. And over the years, there's always been names to projects. And those were done to protect the business that was coming here, to make sure that they were going to come and to get all their I's dotted and T's crossed, etc. And those were maybe once in a 10-year opportunity, right? And there would only be very few businesses that would be interested with what we had to offer. The difference on these projects is that there are hundreds and hundreds of these projects that will be coming down the pipeline. So what, to use the phrase of some former first lady and somebody that was a senator and somebody That was our Secretary of State. What difference does it make whether we pick up a potential couple of data centers today or a couple of data centers a year from now or 6 months from year now or never? What difference does it make? They want what we have. That is surely a game changer for Greenwood. Usually we're out there, I won't say begging, but we're trying to get something that is difficult to get. The Amazon Center, a great get for 96, and should be a fabulous partner with Greenwood, 96, etc. But a data center, I could say they're a dime a dozen, but that's not exactly what I mean. But they are going to be out there, and they are going to constantly be looking for places. So what is the rush? Why not do the moratorium? This is the thing that I keep coming back to. Now, I'm not really going to talk a lot about what was said, this type of thing, that type of thing. I was going to hold off and maybe try to do parts of that for tomorrow. It was a lot of information. It was a lot of redundancy. And I will say, I think Rob Russian was in a very, very difficult position. He was the one that said... He was the one that said he, quote, was charged with coming up with the data center, but he also was the one that was charged with answering the majority of the questions. Although the new planning commissioner, I'm sorry, I don't have the right title, Ryan, was there, but Rob, of course, was in the thick of it. Rob Russian was the one who was answering all the questions. I originally thought that this meeting was going to have several of the commissioners there to try to explain, but in the end, it was Rob that fielded all the questions. People, there probably were, 75, maybe 100 people, I don't know, at the height. Some people were leaving as time went on, but it was filled. There were lots of good questions. There were lots of a lot of people, what I would call, who were knowledgeable about stuff to do with data centers. But I still don't get it. What is the rush? And that's really where I want to stay on it. What is the rush? Why not put the moratorium? I think the other thing is that council should be responsive to what the public wants. And I think the public has made it abundantly clear that they want the moratorium. So I do not really understand why the moratorium is not being given a bigger... It's got on the agenda. The chairman decides what goes on the agenda and what doesn't go on the agenda. I should tell you that the meeting next Tuesday, this came out, I guess, late yesterday afternoon, yesterday evening, that the meeting has been moved to the Greenwood Performing Arts Center for Tuesday's meeting at 5:30. So that has been, that is of course a change. Normally they would be at the Veterans Center at the library, but they have decided to move it there. So that means they anticipate a huge amount of people being there. The other thing is they have listed the order that things will be happening at the meeting. That also is a function of the chairman to decide what order things come up in. And this means that, I thought I would just share this with you. That means the order has been set, and at this moment, that means that they will be doing What will they be doing? They will have, of course, they will have their executive session at 4 o'clock. They will go into public meeting at 5:30. They will, let's see, it says, by the way, a member of public may submit a written public comment, but they also can sign up for comment at the meeting. So they will talk about a ordinance. In fact, the first thing up is Ordinance 2026-19. That is the aforementioned text amendment to amend the county zoning ordinance, and being Ordinance 13-86, blah, blah, blah. So that will come up, and Rob will present that. That is the third reading on that. Then they have a couple of zoning changes that they're looking at. Then they will have, after those 3 things, then they will come up with the public hearing on the moratorium. That will be, though, just the second reading. So, and then that consideration of a quitclaim deed easement for Greenwood Metro will be the last thing. I think they must be expecting a huge turnout, which is why they have moved it to the Greenwood Performing Arts. I don't know how it's going to actually go because it is the week after the 4th of July and a lot of people are on vacation, but I do expect there will be a pretty big crowd there. So FYI, they still will be streaming it just as they always do on from the county website, but you can see it. It's actually housed on YouTube. So that's just a little update there. I still question, what is the rush? Why can we not do the moratorium? They are putting up the text amendment first up, and then we'll bring up the moratorium. You can kind of get a feeling how they expect things to go. And I have another question. I'm just going to put this out there. Why hasn't, if this open period is open where we've got our pants down, shall we say, and now they're getting ready to try to put forth this text amendment. Rob Russian said what happened in Spartanburg, which I don't know, I'm not 100%, I haven't verified it, but let's just go with it as being true, that Spartanburg ended up with, I believe it was a couple of data centers because they just went in under their RDD or whatever it is. They didn't have any guidelines in place, and now they're trying to go backtrack and put the moratorium in. So the question is, we have a couple of data centers here. Why haven't they tried to just go ahead without any restrictions or anything to come forth? Why not? I mean, as a data center, have they been told to wait? Have they, what is the deal? I don't know the answer. I'm only asking questions. But again, why not wait? Why not put the moratorium in effect? Why not settle the people down? After all, does county council not supposed to represent what the people want? End of my discussion on data centers. Moving forward from this point forward, details to follow. Tune in tomorrow. It's a continuing saga because things never seem like what they seem, or do they? Shall we ask Penny? Let's ask Penny. Yeah, she's not interested in that topic either. What do we have to talk about to get her interested? Treats? Do I hear the word treats? Look at her open her eyes. Oh, yes, I'm interested now. All right. I'm Ann Eller. This is WCRS. Penny has very specific likes and dislikes. Okay, next topic up here this morning. I wanted to talk just a little bit about the Supreme Court birthright citizenship. Of course, several things came down. Some things were wins for the administration. Some things were not. Of course, one of the big things that President Trump has said, that birthright citizenship was never intended as one of the amendments to our Constitution. The Supreme Court saw it a different way. They say if you're born here, you have birthright citizenship. Interesting to note, other countries don't do that, don't have a instantaneous birthright citizenship. People that are born that, I don't know, in the military or traveling or something, I think, if I remember my history right, you have to choose, or maybe you don't even have a choice, but they don't automatically say you're a German or you're a French person or. They're very specific about who can qualify for citizenship. So 864-332-9355, 864-332-9355. Love for you to weigh in. We also are live on Facebook this morning at WCRS. But birthright citizenship, what does this ruling mean? And what does it mean? I was thinking about this, and my mind always goes towards where lots of people's minds don't. But what would have happened? What would have happened if what the administration was saying, that birthright citizenship was not guaranteed? What would it have meant to all the people that had been born here? Would they have been still considered? Would they have said from this day forward? They almost would have to have done something about that. But I found that could be what would happen. Also, what is going to happen next? What steps will the administration take? Will they change their immigration? Will they change their visa policy? If you're coming here to the United States, will you... on your visa coming into the United States, will you have to acknowledge that one is pregnant? And will the question be, how pregnant are you? I mean, these are things that I guess that they could institute because otherwise, according to this ruling, and we already know there is a thing called birthright tourism, places where women come to the United States. They literally stay in hotels, condos, or whatever. They have their baby here. They may stay for X amount of days or whatever, and then they go back, having claimed both citizenship for the country of origin and the country of the United States of America. So, as you think about how one could stop this, would the question on a visa have to be your purpose of entry? Well, you could say, I just want a vacation. But are you pregnant? Is that asking too many personal questions? And how far along are you? 8 months and 2 weeks. Visa denied. See, the thing about this is I can see these type of requirements coming into play. And what would happen if you lied on your visa and then you had your baby here? Will this become a policy where people wanting to have their babies here lie about, quote, how pregnant are they? Oh, just 3 months. Okay, and you're really 8.5 months, something like that. I don't know, but this is going to raise an interesting time as to how's it going to affect people coming into the country, because I guess there would be ways, and Congress can now do some type of legal law to, if they could get it through, which I'm not sure they could. So anyways, just thought I'd bring that point up. Think that's an interesting idea. But again, what would have happened to the people that already had birthright citizenship? Can you see this? You were born and you're not really We're ripping up your birthright citizenship papers. I doubt if that would have ever happened, but an interesting idea. I personally like changing the visas when people come in. Do you think that is something we should consider, folks? Should we consider that? 864-332-9355. Do you have any questions? Looks like we do have some I think we do have some people weighing in on some of the things that we've said here this morning, right here on Facebook Live. Let's see. Let's see. Stephanie made a comment on the data centers. I think that's right. The difference between today and a couple of years from now might be the time we need to get the facts we need to make an educated decision. Agreed. You would think the Trump administration would want birthright citizenship. All of his children and himself are birthright citizens. Oh, come on. Anyways, one of the biggest problems that we have in our society and the budget is how many. I don't know how big the industry would be, but let's just say that for every child born here in the United States, right, how much does it cost? And if they come and they do not bring cash to pay for it, or if they come and expect the government to also pay for this baby, that's a huge expense right there to the federal government. And what seems to happen in some of these cases, these birthright ones, is that they have the baby here, they stay X amount of hours, 72 hours, something like that. They go back to their country. And then when the child gets to be 17, 18, 19 years of age, they come back to claim some of their rights. Here is a very interesting question, though. I just thought of this since Stephanie brought up Trump. What about the Trump accounts? The Trump accounts for every baby born, and it is right now for a specific period of time. Is it through 2028, through his term or something? Every child born gets a $1,000 savings account. Think about that. Think about that. If every child that was born here they registered for that, that would mean, although I do believe most of the Trump accounts are not financed through we, the taxpayers, still, is that right? So a lot of things go with being born in the United States. Sometimes I think we don't realize how blessed we are to have American on our name. However, if you have seen any of the thrill and the excitement of foreigners coming to our country to visit and talk about all the great things since FIFA has been going, it certainly has changed the focus on how blessed we are. And somebody else made a comment about how we glorify when we go overseas to visit other countries, how great they are, when in reality we're not taking into consideration how much greater we are. So that's another aspect of it. Stephanie says, my personal opinion is if this administration wants a chance, change the birthright citizenship, and it should apply to everyone. Trump's children are not birthright citizens. It's not a partisan issue. It's just the truth. Trump's children are not birthright citizens. I don't understand that. Weren't all of his children born here in the United States? Isn't all of his he's a citizen? Weren't his wives citizens? I'm not sure I understand that comment, Stephanie. If you want to expand on it, love to hear what you are exactly talking about. 864-332-9355 to make a comment, or right here on Facebook at WCRS Radio. So I'm not sure I understand that question, Stephanie. I believe Trump's children were all born here in the United States. We're all born of parents, and even Melania Trump is a citizen of the United States of America. So I'm not sure that what exactly they are. Okay. I'm not sure I understand that comment. All right. We got to move on. We got lots more to talk about here this morning. I love having you be part of the show. So, next topic up here this morning, we'll leave birthright citizenship. The question is, on a visa, are you going to have to put down how pregnant you are? Coming in for just a little vacation a week before you give birth is probably not going to be one of the reasons that you'll get to use, but who knows? Who am I to say? Anyways, let's move on and talk about something else. The next topic I want to talk about is the South Carolina budget. Do you remember, what was it, Monday, we were talking about how, as usual, I'm going to say it, as usual, the House and the Senate have a hard time getting together on things. And Will Folks with Fitz News said maybe it wouldn't be a bad thing if they didn't pass a budget because it would save us money. Well, that's true. That is true. They did not pass a budget, although they do plan to come back on the 14th. And right now, everything stays the way it was. Okay, everything stays the way it was. So, the thing that doesn't happen is that people do not get raises that we're supposed to get raises. It's just business as usual. This also means that any organizations that were supposed to get, that were in there to get money, will not get money. So that is where we are. That's where we are at on that. Let's talk a little bit more about that. I don't have a lot of time, but we're going to talk a little bit more about it. A lot of the issue came down to unlike what with the federal government, if they don't pass something, we continue operating. We have a continuing resolution that kicks in. So proposed pay increases for state workers, teachers, and legislators will have to wait. So although teachers have been given a money increase right now, that will not apply until they get a budget passed. If they get, and here's the question, if they get a budget passed. House Ways and Means Chairman Bruce Bannister says he's optimistic there will be a compromise to approve when the 6th legislator panel meets again in 2 weeks. Right now, they need their vacations. They've been working hard. They didn't get to take their vacations because we had elections. God bless us. And so now they're going to take their vacations now. So both chambers have to come together. I guess then it needs to be voted on by both chambers. Then it goes to McMaster. And as long as Governor McMaster doesn't veto pay raises, employees will retroactively get their raises starting with July 1st, which I guess would also mean our legislatures. For shame. Just making a joke. All right, the biggest problem they seem to be having is the biggest sticking point in negotiations is whether to allocate hundreds of millions of dollars towards bigger property tax breaks for older homeowners or local projects sponsored by legislatures that was commonly known as earmarks to flows through state agencies to dispense as instructed in legislators' districts. Senators are adamant about putting $248 million into expanding what's known as the homestead exemption. Under state law since 1972, homeowners who are 65 and older or blind or permanently disabled don't have to pay property taxes on the first $50,000. The Senate proposal would expand tax exemptions to, $75,000 for those homeowners if they've lived in their house between 5 and 9 years. If they've lived in South Carolina for at least a decade, it goes to $150,000 of their home's value. Which, unfortunately, 150,000 used to be a really nice home. Now, with prices and inflation, not that much, but it does put a big dent in their taxes, that is for sure. The Senate passed the expanded break in separate legislation earlier this year, but the bill never got a hearing in the House, so senators put it in their budget. See, there's always a workaround, folks. There's always a workaround. The Senate is absolutely committed to providing additional tax relief, said Tom Davis. So, property taxes go to the counties, not the state, to fund local government services, but taxpayers generally don't understand that and don't care. They just want their taxes cut. Senators say they got complaints about property taxes more than any other tax. Their plan uses state taxes to reimburse counties for the property tax revenue they'd be losing. Yes, to cover this cost, senators want the House to reduce $315 million worth of earmarks for projects and nonprofits that the chamber added to its plan in early May. Those are in addition to the $130 million worth of earmarks senators put in their spending plan. So the problem is they still want, here's the thing, they still want to keep the money. That's the bottom line. They still want to keep the money. They still want to expand the budget. They're not really willing to look at cutting things out of a budget that is already overburgeoning, which is what is going to be a central topic of our upcoming election for governor and even for basically House of Representatives going forward. So there you go. That's just a little update on that. That's really going to come back on the 14th. But the issue is what's going to happen right there at that juncture with property taxes versus and how they fund the property taxes. And are nonprofits and other agencies going to lose out if they do this? So, let's see what we have here, 864-332-9355. That is a question. So, let's see. We got another text message in here this morning. Anything else to talk about? Okay. All right. Well, I guess not. Although I thought I had something. Here it is. Yes. Okay. Anyways, that's a little bit more. That's another comment on something else, so we won't worry about that. We'll just move forward here this morning. All right, so here we are. We've talked about what's happening on that. That's another topic, is the budget, what's going to happen there. You remember last year when they had the budget and they snuck that thing in about giving themselves a raise, and then that got taken out. So my point is, this year they did it properly, and that should stay in there. But my point is, you have to watch them all the time to make sure they're doing right, because what will they try to come up with? Right now, none of the raises, none of these things are in effect. You know, when they come back on the 14th, they will address those issues. But how will it affect? Will the House buckle and give up that $315 million that is supposed to be for earmarks or not? That probably is the biggest question. So that's a little bit on the budget this morning. The budget. All right. Now, I found something interesting this morning that I thought you might enjoy hearing about. And let's see, what do I have here? I have to refer back to my notes over here. So this is a very interesting quote. And this was a quote by David Bowie. You know, we lost David Bowie way too soon. He certainly was a curious guy. He came up with some great music, but this is a quote that I wanted to read. Quote of the day by David Bowie. In a 1999 interview with Gear magazine, Bowie stated, if you are pining for youth, I think it produces a stereotypical old man because you only live in memory. You live in a place that doesn't exist. I think aging is an extraordinary process whereby you become the person you always should have been. Isn't that interesting? I'll read that again. David Bowie said, if you are pining for youth, I think it produces a stereotypical old man or woman because you only live in memory. You live in a place that doesn't exist. I think aging is an extraordinary process whereby you become the person you always should have been. I think that's fascinating. It says that, and this is from a magazine, I think it's, what is it? What is that magazine? Here we go. Economic Times. Yeah, I love the quotes that they put forward on that. Seems like every day I come across one that I really like, and this one really spoke to me. It says, aging is always regarded as a tragic decline. Isn't that the truth? Another part falls off, another pain develops, another brain fart, which reminds me today is National I Forgot Day. You can use that all day long today. I'm sorry. I forgot. I'm sorry. I forgot. But we all worry about our minds, what's happening there. We worry about the aches and pains, and are we going to be able to keep pace? So aging is always regarded as a tragic decline. But according to Bowie, maintains that it is an incredible journey that symbolizes becoming our authentic self and a life lived well. Age helps us get past illusions, insecurities that grappled with us in our youth and no longer to be concerned with them. Aging strips away pretense and helps us embrace our strengths and accept our imperfections. There you go. So in a world that worships youth and the penalties of aging, David Bowie's quote remains timeless. It reminds us that aging should be embraced as it is a process which helps us become more confident, self-aware, and emotionally mature. As people navigate life's successes, failures, relationships, and hardships, they do gain clarity about their values and priorities over time. Many let go of the need to impress others and instead embrace authenticity, confidence, and inner peace. I think that is terrific. I will read that quote to you one more time since we've now explained it. Think about this. David Bowie shared, if you are pining for youth, I think it produces a stereotypical old man because you only live in memory. You live in a place that doesn't exist. I think aging is an extraordinary process whereby you become the person you always should have been. Isn't that true? I think that's very true. And I think we forget about the advantages of experience and living life. Some of the things you can only know if you've actually suffered heartache or loss. You know, we all talk about, I can understand, right? But unless you've lived some of these experiences, you can empathize, but you cannot understand. So I thought that was a terrific quote for today as we move on. Sometimes things don't seem as they are, and sometimes we think that youth is where we all want to be. If we could only have the bodies of youth, there you go. If we could have the bodies of youth and the brain of a mature person. Now, wouldn't that be cool to have that, to have life experience somehow implanted, and with the way we're going, AI will be able to do that for our brains very soon, to be able to experience things. And actually, not to go off on another tangent, which I have a minute to do, think about how many experiences so many people are losing out on because they're allowing AI to be their experience. to be able to tell them what they should be feeling, to be able to tell them how they're, what they should do, instead of making those small but expensive mistakes. Sorry, I thought I was going to sneeze. But in my life, I have had a world of experiences. And personally, well, I don't know if I really want to say that or not. Personally, I think that all the experiences that I've had in my life have shaped my ideas and where I come from and how I look at things. And actually, I'm going to say, because I had the benefit of Jeff in my life, who always had to go deeper than the surface to look at something, I have developed that same ideal in life to have to say, well, what if, and to adjust the other side of things. And it served me very well. Not everybody has that experience, but we all have life experiences, and we should all treasure the experiences that we've had, good, bad, heartache, success, because they all build the person that we become. And if we could just be authentic, wouldn't life be that much better? Nah, no, maybe. I know I enjoy where I am in life, even though I don't like getting older. I enjoy where I am in my life. All right, that's another couple of things out there. What else do I have for you here today? Yes, it's National I Forgot Day. If you forgot something, don't apologize it. It's National I Forgot Day. Use it to your benefit. Anything that you should have done that you can just send a little email or text somebody or call them and say, I'm sorry, I forgot I was supposed to do that. I have my list ready. How about you? All right. So we've talked about the budget. We've talked about the data center. From my perspective here, we'll have some more, hopefully, hard news on that. I know there's a lot on the data centers on social media. And sometimes social media gets everybody very excited, very wound up, but it is a thing that is looking at Greenwood. And you know my question on that, why can't we wait? What is wrong with waiting? What is the rush? Okay, now, I had one more little topic. This has to do with one of our founding fathers, who was thought to be a stoic person, but in truth was one of our funniest founding fathers. And you might say, what are you talking about? All these old guys were old farts, right? In fact, that's really the rub with the Constitution, isn't it? How can they know, and this is a true question, how can they know what is best for today? And so when you go back and you read the documents and you see how perceptive, whether it's the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, any of these old documents, and how we can still abide by them, it is pretty amazing. Maybe because they were authentic people. Maybe because they'd realized that aging was part of the process. I have no idea. But one of the people that is considered to be one of the funniest is Benjamin Franklin. That's right. He had a very, what was considered mischievous side. He was always thought of as the brilliant inventor. And, he had the kite, the bifocals, and the lightning rod. That's the stereotypical image that we have of him. Less goes to the fact that he enjoyed provoking people almost as much as experimenting. So the first thing that kind of showed up in his personality, I don't know if you know this story or not, but I found it interesting, was when he was a young man in Boston working as an apprentice in his brother's Boston printing shop. when his brother refused to publish his writings in the newspaper, Benjamin Franklin invented a fictional middle-aged widow named Mrs. Silence Dogood. Mrs. Silence Dogood. And he would slip the letters, the essays that he wrote, with her name on it under the door at night so they would be printed. The Silence Dogood letters were witty and mildly scandalous by colonial standards. In one letter, Mrs. Dogood described Harvard graduates returning home as great blockheads as ever, only more profound and self-conceited. Can you imagine? And so readers loved the widow's sharp observations. Some men evenly reported proposed marriages to the imaginary woman. And Benjamin Franklin delighted in using invented characters to say things he could not safely say himself. Isn't that wild? So that was the start of something, of how he got around the system. His brother didn't want his writings in it, so he came up with this fictional character, and she even got marriage proposals, and yet the whole time he was poking fun at society. So he also was a gifted satirist. And one of the most famous iconic comic pieces is the essay known now as Fart Proudly. Yes, I said it. Fart Proudly. Written while he was living in France. So he had a elaborate satirist proposals and everything. And what makes this piece genuinely funny even now is that Franklin never breaks character. He intended it for he that is conscious of a stink in his breeches. The essay is written in the polished, rational tone of enlightened era science. He discusses the matter as though it were proposing a perfectly respectable improvement for humanity, recommending research into foods and powders capable of rendering wind as agreeable as perfume. And of course, so that was Fart Proudly, if you want to check more about that. And then, of course, he wrote Poor Richard. And this is where some of his humor became quite famous with his different proverbs. He who lies down with dogs shall get up with fleas. Fish and visitors smell in 3 days. And 3 may keep a secret if 2 of them are dead. I'm not sure I ever heard that one, but that is entirely true. So, anyways, that is Benjamin Franklin, one of the original signers, of course, to our Declaration of Independence, and one who you might not have thought had a sense of humor, but he definitely did. And now you've heard a little piece of history right here on WCRS. Benjamin Franklin, one of our founding fathers who had a sense of humor. What do you think Benjamin Franklin would make of our society today? He'd probably say, one person can keep a secret if 3 people can keep a secret if 2 of them are dead and 1 is alive, except for where social media is concerned, because if social media gets a hold of it, it travels widely. I just made that up. Anyways, I'm Ann Eller right here this morning. There are some events that I wanted to make sure that you know about. This is some of the things that are coming up this weekend. There certainly are a lot of great things coming up. One of the things that I want to make sure that you know about, if you'd like to start the 4th of July off with a reading of the Declaration of Independence, which is an important founding document, which was not signed on the 4th of July, but was meant for the 4th of July, is that you go to the Veterans Center at 9:30 on 4th of July morning and be part of that reading. They are going to have a reading of it. They're going to have some reenactors there. It's not going to be long. They list it as about a half-hour program, but it would get you up and out of the house and maybe go out and have a biscuit afterwards and celebrate the fact that we are free Americans. So that is 9:30 on Saturday morning. Okay. Friday from 6 to 10:30, the Ware Shoals Amphitheater is a place for live music by DJ Kell, plus a dance foam party along with inflatable water slides, and a nighttime fireworks display. So that is Friday. Food vendors are scheduled to be on site. No outside food or beverages are allowed. Coolers are prohibited. Yes. Okay. Friday at 6 p.m., the gates open at Legion Field right here in Greenwood for a baseball game with the Greenwood Flying Monkeys as they play against the Joanna Hornets. The game starts at 7 p.m., gates open at 6, and a fireworks display is scheduled to begin 10 minutes after the end of the game. Free admission for children 12 and younger. Also, out there at Skipper's at 6 p.m., Skipper's on Lake Greenwood is hosting a golf cart parade. 1085 Lakeshore Drive in Cross Hill. A prize will be awarded for the best dressed rides in red, white, and blue. Parade lines up near the campground entrance. So there you go. That's at Skipper's. They will be having a golf cart parade Friday evening. Saturday, of course, in Greenville, they're having a huge event. The Greenville Drive will host Freedom Fest at Floor Field. They're going to have, as it says, jaw-dropping fireworks, final at 9:30, but they've got all kinds of activities all day long. That's going on if you want to go get in a lot of traffic, etc., etc. Saturday at dark, Skipper's at Lake Greenwood is hosting its annual 4th of July fireworks display. Hundreds of boaters are anticipated to gather for the show. Sunset will be about 8:43. Saturday on Lake Session in Abbeville County, enjoy a boat parade at 10 a.m. and fireworks show at dark across from Jets Landing. Saturday, also on Lake Greenwood, check out the Patriotic Pier Days happening now through July 7th. Connect Lake Greenwood is hosting this Lakewide America 250 celebration. Residents, businesses, and waterfront communities and marinas are invited to bring out the red, white, and blue. I'm hoping to get a tour out there to be able to check that out. Then, as I said, Saturday morning, the Greenwood County 250 Coalition will have a free Independence Day celebration at the Greenwood County Veterans. It says patriotism will be on full display with presentations, music, tributes, and more. The event marks sacrifices of generations of men and women who shaped the signing of the Declaration of Independence. That's a little bit more than what I had heard, so I didn't know they were going to have music, etc. That does start at 9:30 Saturday morning. Also, Saturday at 10 a.m., join the Abbeville County 250 Commission at Trinity Episcopal Church for a celebration of the 250th anniversary of American independence. Living history interpreters in period patriot dress will be on site. Learn about Thomas Paine's common sense, something that is missing in society now. Just throwing that in there. They'll read the Declaration of Independence, they're doing the United States Constitution, and the role of Abbeville's Andrew Pickens in the fight for independence during the Southern campaigns. Events will culminate with dedication and unveiling of a historical marker on Court Square, recognizing the naming of the town and the county formation in 1785. There are some churches that are also hosting fireworks. Saturday at 7 p.m., Legacy City Church of Greenwood is hosting fireworks on the 4th on its campus, which is at 1516 Parkway. It says enjoy games, snacks, face painting, and inflatables. Fireworks are scheduled to begin around 9 p.m. Bring lawn chairs and picnic blankets. That is at Legacy City Church. Sunday at 8 p.m., join Gospel Light Baptist Church, 118 Burnett Road in Greenwood I can't talk this morning, for fellowship, food, and fireworks after Sunday night worship. And that is, of course, a lot of the things that are going on. Of course, there's a lot more. There always is so much going on. Those are a few things that are out there for us to be able to enjoy. So what else do we have here to talk about? Those are basically the things that I think that are 4th of July related. There's a lot of stuff coming up, but this is going on at the YMCA. I think this is a great tribute to our veterans. It says they're giving a free 2-week YMCA membership pass for veterans. As a thank you for your service, veterans are invited to enjoy a free 2-week YMCA membership pass on the YMCA during the month of July. So you must join during the month of July. Proof of veteran status is required. No membership is required during this 2-week pass. So that is at our Lakelands YMCA, which, by the way, yesterday afternoon we had an excellent conversation with Allison Monday. She, of course, is the aquatics and membership director. We talked about water safety. We talked about water safety for everybody and how during this, particularly with this 4th of July, people are going to be out at the lake. They're going to be out there having a good time. To be aware that you need to be prepared. And even if you are a good swimmer, never swim alone. Make sure that you are wearing a life jacket out there. Allison said she's an excellent swimmer and she does all these things. So it's a reminder about this, and also get your child acclimated to being able to, I'm going to use the word survive in the water, float on their back. Adults, everybody needs to minimally know how to survive in the water and not to be afraid of the water. So they have excellent classes right there at the YMCA. I would highly recommend you check it out, just because water safety, whether you do it through the Y or through somebody else, is very, very important. Last year, if you can remember, we had several drownings that were just so horrible. This year, so far, so good, I think. But that only takes one. It only takes one, and to have no one that can help is a tragedy. So be prepared yourself. Make sure if you have children in the pools or on the lake that you have your eyes up and not scrolling at those phones. So it was an excellent interview. I hope if you didn't see it, you go back and watch it. By the way, I might as well tell you all now, we're live on Spotify and iTunes, I do believe. I saw the thing, and Allison's story is up there now. So I haven't gone to check it out this morning, but I was told it takes maybe 24 hours the first time. But we are live on Spotify and iTunes, and you can check it out. I don't know what you actually have to check it out. My moniker on it is a girl and her mic, and there's this real cute picture of Penny and me. Speaking of Penny, we probably should check in and see how she's doing here. She's still bored. She goes, fireworks are fine, but that's not really what I'm into. And she goes, by the way, would you please tell everybody that not everybody is as bold and brave and cool as I am. Make sure that you don't let your dogs out after 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, or even earlier to go do their business. Make sure you take them on a leash, because we will have fireworks going off probably could start tonight. But anyways, Friday and Saturday and probably Sunday, everybody will be shooting off fireworks. And when an animal hears fireworks, unless they're cool, calm, and collected as Penny goes, like I am, they will probably bolt, and we'll have all kinds of stories coming across where somebody is missing a pet. So what do you say, Penny? Keep them on a leash. I don't like being on a leash, but it is the safest thing, particularly when it's dark and scary out there. And then these big boomers go on. That's right, Penny. Keep them on a leash. Don't let them out in the backyard. And same thing goes for cats. I mean, cats are outside. They get scared. They run off. So this is your opportunity to do something good for your pets so we don't have to have all these stories of, I don't know what happened. I let my dog out and it jumped over the fence. It never does that. Well, you know, just like humans, dogs can have super dog powers when they're scared. And this is a travesty. The other thing I want to remind you, with the heat wave that we have happening, what should people do, Penny? Well, they should make sure they have cool water and a shade. If you put that water in a hot metal dish, it'll only get hot, and then we can't drink it because I don't like hot tea. There you go. So please do as Penny says. Make sure that you take care of your animals. They should have a cool place to get out, or get some shade at least, and put your water out. Maybe take a water bottle, disposable one, fill it with water. Look at Penny, she's just yawning. You should be awake, Penny. I'm talking about your people. Anyways, she takes a bottle and puts it in the freezer, and then puts it in the metal dish with water. Helps keep the water cooler longer. Just a few tips to help us get through the holidays. All right, well, I am Ann Eller. Let's go back and check, see if we had any comments here I have missed. Nope, I'm good. Stephanie clarified it that Trump's children are birthright citizens. And yes, that's what I thought. All right. Well, anybody got anything else to say here today? I hope you have a great day. I hope you make plans to use today is National I Forgot. It's National I Forgot Day, and I think that is a terrific opportunity to get by. And if you've had something you should have done, contact that person today and say, I'm sorry, I forgot. Did you know it's National I Forgot Day? That's right. Hey, I am Ann Eller, and remember, things are not always as they seem, as this show tries to put across to you right here on WCRS. Have a great day. We do not have a show this afternoon, but let me tell you this. Next week, I am covered up with stories. So tune in next week. We'll have plenty. Blues Cruise, Sherry Biggs, local focal, we got it all going on. So make sure you stay tuned right here on WCRS. I'll be back in the morning for a powerful 4th of July show. Well, at least that's what I'm planning. Anyways, have a good day, everybody. That's going to do it for us. Penny's saying, it's about time you finish talking. That's right. We are going to cue the music now. Have a great day. This is WCRS Radio.